What is up, everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team Career Mode. This time out, we are going to be at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Last race, we were at the Mexican Grand Prix, Mexico City, and it went very well for us, actually. We ended up finishing 5th and 8th as a team, and we met our sponsorship target of 100 points over the course of the season. So now we don't have too much more to worry about, but I would like to increase the amount of cash we've got coming into the team for next season even more by improving our standing in the Constructors' Championship by at least one more position if we possibly can. We are currently about 35 points behind Alpine, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around that. So I am hoping that we can, over the next 4 races, close up that gap. We have 4 race weekends to do so. We have the sprint weekend here in Brazil, then we have Portugal, Las Vegas, and Abu Dhabi, and I'm hoping by that point that we should be able to usurp Alpine, especially with how strong our car has been recently. We just won a rivalry against Carlos Sainz, and that means we are going to be bumping the difficulty up by 1 point. It's going to be the highest it's been over the course of this entire series, actually. We're going to be going up to 98. So, yeah, we'll see if I can hack it against 98 AI. We're not too far away from 100 now. So, yeah, it's actually pretty cool to think that I seem to be able to race at least somewhat decently with just about anyone, really. Yeah, I don't know. It's very cool. Brazil now is a track that I believe I won at last season. If I remember correctly, we came second in the sprint, and then we came home to win quite comfortably in the race itself. If we can win here again this season, that would be absolutely fantastic. But the AI generally are a lot faster and a lot more consistent than they were last season. And, well, I say they're more consistent. It's probably that I'm more inconsistent. I definitely feel like as you improve the car over the course of a My Team Career Mode, my ability to drive it becomes weaker. I just can't I can't react quickly enough to the demands of the car. So, yeah, we'll see what we can do. But the pace in practice was pretty decent, you know, on the medium compound tyres, and we were, you know, in amongst the rest of the medium runners, which is pretty good. Hauger there as well in P14 doing just about what he needs to do. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with that, I would say, and yeah, hopefully we can get a good qualifying. We need to really make the most of this sprint weekend, I would say, because 1, this is a track that I think I have the propensity to do very well at, and 2, because it's a sprint weekend, we have the opportunity to score, if we get fastest lap in the race and the sprint victory and the race win, that's what, 34 points up for grabs potentially. So we need to grasp this opportunity with both hands, really, and try and do everything we can to get as high up the order as we can, because we can really close that gap to Alpine this weekend if we can take full advantage of that. But anyway, we're now into qualifying, and it's actually raining to kick things off. The race itself is going to be dry, but the quali is full wet conditions at the moment. So, yeah, not had any practice in these conditions. It was fully dry throughout all of practice, but we do a 1:19.8, which is good enough for P1 at the time that we set the lap. And, well, the track is drying out, so we're probably going to have to go again. And actually, it was time for intermediate tyres by the end of the session, but I was about the only person who realised it. So we're definitely going to be P1 here, and we're going to be P1 by quite a significant margin because we're improving by 1.5 seconds down to a 1:18.1, and that is undoubtedly fast enough to see us through to Q2. So yeah, very happy with that. We seem to spot that the Inters were getting faster when nobody else did, and so we finished the session 2.3 seconds ahead of the nearest car. Hauger does get through in P15, so decent performance from him. And the eliminations here are Sonoda, Fittipaldi, Sargent, Joe, Albon, and De Vries. The 2 backmarker cars making it through in this case are Lawson and Hulkenberg. So yeah, a strong performance from the 2 of them. Hauger actually being outperformed by Hulkenberg. I know the Haas has been improving a little bit over the course of the season, but I would still expect Dennis Hauger to beat a Haas. So hopefully he can do that in Q2 and find himself no lower than P14. But yeah, we'll see what he can do. It's still intermediate conditions as we come out for our first flying lap in Q2, and you can see the track is definitely a little bit drier than it was before. But yeah, still definitely not dry enough for the slick tyres yet. We're into the 115s now. It's a 115.3 on my first flying lap out here. And I didn't actually think it was that good of a lap, so I was kind of surprised by that. But by the time that we get onto our next flying lap, it has dried out, and we're the last car to cross the line, so we're currently down here in P16. But we are 1.7 seconds ahead of Lando Norris in P12 there. So I kind of get the feeling we are going to be alright here. 6 seconds up on our best time. Norris is into the 110s. We're currently on course to do, I believe, a 108 by the looks of things. We've crossed the line. It's a 108.8, and that is undoubtedly going to be good enough to see us through to Q3 in P1. So we're looking like we might be in with a shot of pole position here, or at least we're going to be very high up the order. It's probably going to be dry for the remainder of qualifying now. Dennis Hauger just a few hundredths of a second away from making it in to Q3. If he'd have gone 300ths of a second faster, he would have been P8 and through very comfortably, but instead he's P11 and out, along with Magnussen, Norris, Sainz, Lawson and Hulkenberg. Disappointment for Lando Norris there, you know, off the back of 2 race wins in a row and potentially trying to get himself back into the championship fight. He's now been eliminated in Q2, and he is going to have a bit of a mountain to climb. That said, though, he did win from 12th in Mexico, so anything is possible. We'll just have to wait and see what he can do as we make our way now into Q3. And it's a 106.6 on our first flying lap here. But I don't know if that's going to be good enough for pole position or not. We will definitely go again on another set of soft compound tyres. We have plenty of sets of fresh softs. And you can see as we make our way onto our second flying lap, George Russell is actually marginally faster than us at the moment. But we have gone faster than him through Sector 2. All we have to do is improve by a couple tenths through the final sector. But it is just one big long straight, so I don't think it's going to happen for us, unfortunately. And as we cross the line, it's going to be a 106.5. And that, unfortunately, is not going to be good enough to see us on pole position. It's going to be P2 here in Brazil. And we're going to have to try and get the jump on Russell at the start of the sprint.
Qualifying finished. It's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Russell, Robinson and Charles Leclerc. Goodbye for now then, but we are really just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not overly disappointed with that. You know, P2 is still a solid result, but I do feel like we definitely could have got pole position there. Only a tenth away from George Russell. I'm sure we will be able to challenge him in the Grand Prix. I typically actually have pretty good race pace around Brazil in my experience. Obviously, we've got a fully upgraded car now, so who knows whether that might have gone out the window. But, you know, we will try our hardest to try and win this race, because I feel like we definitely have the potential to. We definitely have the pace, we have the skills, it's a track I love, and also, you know, it's something that would put us in very good stead to beat Alpine in this season of My Team Career Mode. You know, this is a track I'm very good at, Portugal's a track I'm very good at. If we can beat them in both of those races, we should be able to snatch P6 from them in the Constructors' Championship.
So it is all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top?
Well, that would be me, Alex Jakes. I know I may be starting down in P2, but here's the plan. Jump George Russell off the line and lead to the flag. And it's as simple as that. And then in the race, just, you know, lights to flag victory. Simple as. You know, don't overcomplicate it.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Robinson completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Bottas, Oscar Piastri, Verstappen, Perez, Gasly, Stroll, Ocon, Hauger, Magnussen, Norris, Sainz, Liam Lawson, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Fittipaldi, Sargent, Joe, Albon, and Nick de Vries rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We will soon find out.
Nothing more for them to say on this occasion, as we are looking at the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, not in the championship fight, having a difficult season really. I think we're actually ahead of him in the Drivers' Championship. So, yeah, difficult season so far for him. I don't know where he's starting in this race. I wasn't overly paying attention outside of the top sort of 3 cars. But, you know, maybe he'll be able to get himself involved in the fight. Who knows? down on the grid, we are, of course, doing a sprint, so it's going to be a 0 stop. We're going to be going on a set of soft compound tyres. And, well, fun fact, actually, this is my second attempt at recording this sprint, because I got 4 laps deep into it the first time, and my game crashed. So, yeah, I had to completely restart the sprint. It was a bit frustrating, but it was only about 10 minutes lost. It wasn't the end of the world. I won't tell you how I was doing in that one just yet, but, yeah, the outcome of the sprint so far in my first attempt was exactly the same as it ended up being in my second one. So that's all I'll say on the matter. As we get into our grid slot, 0.1 meters, pretty good parking from myself there. It's actually an uphill grid start, so it's not the easiest in the world to get right, but we managed to nail it on this occasion, and now we're going to get ready to jump George Russell as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and we have had a good getaway, but actually Russell's had a decent getaway there as well. This is not going to be all going my way. I think we've just about pulled this off. He's going to fight me back around the outside, but by the time that we get to the exit of the center S's, we are in the lead of the sprint here in Sao Paulo, and that is exactly what I wanted to happen. You know, I feel like... Oh, hold on. George Russell's coming back at me, actually. Is he going to try and go up the inside? Not quite. He didn't quite have the room to make it happen on this occasion. So I think we are going to be leading here in the sprint. But, yeah, that was a lot more sketchy than I was anticipating it was going to be. He really did fight me back down that second long straight. Yeah, I think this should be fairly comfortable for us. Our pace here really lies in the middle section of this track, through this big long sequence of twisty corners, basically just sector 2 effectively. That is where we are significantly stronger than the AI here. It might be because I'm running more downforce than the AI, and that might also explain why George Russell was catching me so much during that big long straight. Obviously he was burning battery as well. We have developed a pretty strong battery strategy for just sort of deploying it at a neutral rate here, which I'm hoping should be good enough to keep me holding on to this victory. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But either way, yeah, in that previous sprint that I was talking about, we were also leading. It was not from George Russell actually, because he had an appalling start in the previous one. But it doesn't really matter. All that matters is the position that we are in, as we currently are on lap 4 of 12. And there's a yellow flag behind the looks of things. It seems like something might have happened to someone. I think it's one of the Red Bulls. I think it's Max Verstappen actually. And there's a red flag for the Red Bull. I think he had a spin or something like that possibly. It doesn't look like he's retired. He retired in Mexico City, of course. It's an absolutely horrendous time to be Max Verstappen. The championship slipping out of his fingers. And they're recommending that I go onto a set of medium tyres, but I don't think that's the right call, actually. I'm feeling like softs to the end, despite the fact that they're saying it's going to be slower. I feel like having that initial pace on the softs is going to be better than going on a set of medium tyres to the end. So I'm actually overruling the strategy, and we've got 7 laps to the flag as the lights come on once again. And the lights go out again, and we've had a much better start than George Russell on this occasion. He falls all the way back away from us, and Leclerc is actually jumping up into P2 now. Russell is fighting him back a little bit, and that is perfect for me, because the more that they battle away with one another, the more likely it is that I can make my getaway off into the Sao Paulo sunset and win this sprint, pick up a full gambit of 8 points, and never be seen again by anyone. And it was going very, very well for me until lap 11, actually, when Charles Leclerc was the one who prevailed in his battle between himself and George Russell. Valtteri Bottas also ended up getting past his teammate. But you can see that Charles Leclerc now closing me down. I think he's going to go for a move up the inside into the center S's. I give him a bit of space there, and that compromises my run through the center S's. So I think as we come on the run down to, I think is this turn 4 at the end of this long straight, I think that Leclerc is going to be coming at us once again up the inside. He's right alongside us. We're definitely going to have to give him some room, but maybe we didn't give him quite enough room there. Either way, he backed out of it, and we've held on to P2, or P1 rather, and he stays in P2. And now we've only got about 30 seconds. This is our strong suit, our strongest sector, but Leclerc is actually staying with us quite a lot through this sector. I don't know if it's because my tyres have gone off a little bit. Maybe I should have gone in those mediums after all, but I wonder whether that would have initially compromised my pace if I'd done that. You know, it definitely was a bit of a gamble. So yeah, I don't know whether I ended up putting myself on the right strategy or not here, on this red flag restart. But one thing is for sure, Charles Leclerc is only 4 tenths behind us now. Are we going to have a repeat of what happened last season when Lewis Hamilton was actually the one that caught me on the line? Wait, that can't have been last season. But anyway, we do get beaten to the line by Charles Leclerc.
Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Well, that wraps up Sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Yeah, I was mixing up my seasons for a second then, but we definitely, I think it was season 1 it must have been then, Lewis Hamilton pipped us to P1 on the line in the sprint in Brazil. I remember it vividly. And it's happened again here with Charles Leclerc here in season 3. So, yeah, a big disappointment there as we miss out on scoring a full 8 points. We've still yet to get a sprint victory here in this series of My Team Career Mode. But, well, you know, we have 36 laps tomorrow to try and bounce back. And let's see if we can win it when it's a full race at the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Formula One returns to Interlagos once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his 3rd championship here in 2012, and in 2016, Max Verstappen treated us all to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. We're racing then at Interlagos, a historic 2.7-mile circuit and one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar. 15 corners in total, 9 to the left and 6 to the right, with a technical middle section opening up to a flat-out Sector 3 that gives us our best passing opportunity down into Turn 1. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Robinson completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Russell, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Stroll, Norris, Ocon, Magnussen, Sainz, Hauger, Sargent, Liam Lawson, Albon, Joe, Fittipaldi, Tsunoda, De Vries, Verstappen, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And Anthony Davidson joins us for this one. And great to have your company. There's no weather to worry about here. What will be going through the drivers' minds as they finish these last-minute preparations?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into Turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Well, I will try my hardest not to let him down on this occasion. I have very much been the bridesmaid this weekend so far. You know, we looked absolutely dead set on getting pole position in the first 2 qualifying sessions, but when it came down to Q3, we were P2. In the sprint, we were winning it from pretty much the first corner all the way until the finish line. And now we find ourselves in P2 starting the race. I am absolutely determined to get this victory. I know the pace is in this car. Charles Leclerc is starting on the mediums. He should have a much worse start than me if I can get away well. Once again, we have got a 0.1 meter parking. We have absolutely primed ourselves to take the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix here, and I am not going to let this opportunity slip away from me. I know that 25 points is in here. All I have to do is just drive as well as I possibly can, and we will see what we can do as the lights come on. And the lights go out here in Sao Paulo. Once again, Charles Leclerc basically doesn't even move off of the line. We find ourselves up into P1 once again this weekend. And Sergio Perez has actually made his way up into P2 with Lance Stroll in P3. What happened there? I swear it was Leclerc, Russell and Bottas who were the top 4 if I remember correctly. And all of a sudden Sergio Perez has found his way into P2. It's been an absolutely shocking start for the Mercedes and a shocking start for Charles Leclerc as well. And we find ourselves almost a second broken away from Sergio Perez already. Lance Stroll is 2 seconds down on us, and already this race is starting to look like it might just be a straight fight between myself and the Red Bull man. He needs a good weekend here if he wants to get himself involved in the championship fight. Lord knows. And, well, I am not going to let this opportunity slip away from me at all for our chance to beat Alpine in the Constructors' standings. Maybe, just maybe, if we can get a good gambit of points here, maybe we can still catch the likes of Aston Martin and Ferrari as well. Probably not Ferrari. They are a little bit too hard to catch now, I would say. But maybe even Aston Martin are on the cards. Although with Lance Stroll up in P3, maybe he could be scoring some good points for them on this occasion. But one thing is for certain, I am not going to yield this position for absolutely anything if I don't have to. You know, if I'm going to fight Sergio Perez with everything I can throw at him, because I am not losing out on another victory, or another P1 I should say, here in Sao Paulo. We make our way to the end of P4 now, and I've been leading things pretty comfortably for the time being. But with Sergio Perez only 4 tenths behind, he will have that DRS, and I am almost certain that he is going to go for a bit of a move here. By the time we get to the first corner, he's almost a full car length ahead, but we just do enough to keep one wheel in there, pinch him to the inside on the exit of the center S's, and that sees us back up into P1. So we did lose the position momentarily, but we got it straight back off Sergio Perez, and that is what I am hoping we will do over the course of the entire race if we have to. We actually had the DRS on the exit of the center S's because he was marginally ahead going into the detection point, and that might just be enough to hold on to this. Although somehow through sector 2 you can see he catches me rapidly there. I don't know how he managed that, but he went from being 1 second down to 6 tenths down in a matter of a few corners. I don't know if I took a few corners poorly or something. That's supposed to be the section of the track that I'm good in, so I don't really understand. And you can see once again Sergio Perez going for a move, this time up the inside in the center S's. We're going to keep our foot in and we squeeze him once again, and we're going to have the DRS once again as well. So bad luck, Sergio, I'm afraid, but I am not giving up this position unless I absolutely have to. He is staying right with me. He tries to go up the inside at turn 4. We actually go off the track a little bit to make sure that we're giving him enough space on the exit of that corner. And now as we switch to the replay camera, you can see at the end of the lap, I am trying to do everything I can to keep him behind, but this time he was a lot closer, and I think I might just have to yield this position to the Mexican driver for the time being, and we can regroup, try and figure out a strategy that will enable us to get back ahead of him, and just try and push as hard as we can to stay sort of in range of him if we possibly can. But yeah, that is disappointing to see. By the time we get to the end of the DRS zone as well, we're not close enough to him to go for an overtake. Seems like the straight line speed working very well for that Red Bull this weekend. As we make our way onto the end of lap 11 and the start of lap 12, you can see that George Russell is actually starting to catch up to me now. He was about 4 seconds down on me 5 laps ago, and now he's closed that gap to just 1.5 seconds. So I'm going to have to start pushing quite hard if I want to keep Russell out of my DRS range. And not only that, but Perez has also started to break away a little bit. He's built out a gap of 2 seconds, I should say, and I can only imagine that that gap is only going to get bigger and bigger if I don't start doing something to accommodate it. Through the middle sector, we are quite strong here. You can see we have managed to close the gap quite a bit, but I imagine that he will gain all of that time straight back in the straight, where he is the superior driver. Once again, the straights providing supremely big problems for me. But yeah, as we make our way onto lap 13, they're letting us know that we are approaching the pit window, and well, maybe depending on when Sergio Perez pits, there may be an opportunity for us here. We're pitting on lap 15, which feels a little bit early, but as we make our way onto the end of lap 15, we are going to be coming into the pit lane. Let's see, is Sergio Perez coming in or staying out? It looks like he's staying out. Okay, so maybe, just maybe, we can go for an undercut here. My lap times were about 3 seconds slower than my fastest lap at the end of the stint, which suggests to me that we should be at least 3 seconds a lap faster than Sergio Perez when we go onto these medium tyres. He was 2 seconds ahead of us when I came into the pit lane, so I think the undercut is going to be possible here as we switch to the medium compounded tyre, and we're just going to have to hope that Sergio Perez doesn't bang in the lap of his life on this lap, because I imagine that he will be coming in at the end of lap 16. But, well, I've been wrong about these things before. Who knows, maybe he'll even stay out another lap. We come out in P11, but obviously everyone ahead of us still has to pit. George Russell is still 1.5 seconds down on us, so he stays outside of our DRS range, and we've just got to hope that Max Verstappen pits nice and soon, and he does indeed. He actually pitted on the previous lap, lap 16, and I can tell you for that reason that Sergio Perez did not pit. He waited until lap 17 to come in. And what does that mean? It meant we had 2 laps where we were on better tyres than Sergio Perez. We set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and we are going to be coming out ahead of Sergio Perez after the pit stop phase. We're currently down in P5. Everyone who started on the medium tyres, Leclerc, one of the McLarens, and both of the Alpines were yet to pit at that point. And as we make our way to the end of lap 19, you can see what the gap to Sergio Perez is looking like. It's 2.8 seconds. Pierre Gasly is coming into the pits. We are reclaiming the lead on track of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and that is exactly what I was hoping would happen, and that is exactly what has happened. This is an absolutely fantastic situation we now find ourselves in, and I am not going to let this slip away. We are moving now on to the end of lap 23, start of lap 24. Sergio Perez has gained on us by a few tenths, but it's nothing major to worry about at this stage. I don't think we have any reason to be worrying about him. We certainly don't have any reason to worry about anyone else in this Grand Prix. Leclerc on those hard compound tyres. George Russell has only fallen away from me since the pit stop phase by about 2.5 seconds, so I don't think we have to worry about him any. Let's have a look at what the gap to Sergio Perez does over the course of a lap. It was 2.1, I believe, at the start of the lap, and it's going up to about 2.6 at that stage, 2.5, 2.4 now. But either way, it seems like maybe we're even pulling away from him a little bit. We certainly did on that lap. So yeah, that is very encouraging to see, and hopefully we can continue extending this gap from Sergio Perez. I just want a nice, clean, easy race to the flag now, and hopefully that's what we can have as we make our way onto lap 25. Just 12 laps to go here in the Brazilian Grand Prix. Hopefully they will be the calmest 12 laps of my life. But as we make our way to the end of lap 28, you can see that Sergio Perez has just snuck into my DRS range now. Over the course of those 5 laps, he picked up the pace quite dramatically. We were still breaking away from George Russell, which showed me that clearly this was Perez pushing with just about everything he had. Maybe he was burning quite a lot of his battery, I don't know. But I think now might be the time to start worrying about Sergio Perez, quite frankly, because he is starting to get quite close to me. Not quite close enough on this occasion with the DRS to even think about going for a challenge, but maybe as we make our way to the end of lap 29 and the start of lap 30, maybe that is when he will mount a bit more of a challenge on me. Who knows? Because this DRS zone is extremely powerful for cars who have the superior straight line speed compared to me. You've seen before Sergio Perez mounting a challenge from sort of 5 or 6 tenths back. It didn't happen on this occasion though. He was still about 2 tenths down on me by the time we got to turn 1. But yeah, I definitely don't feel comfortable right now, and I definitely feel like if we're not careful, Sergio Perez could definitely steal this victory off of me, and once again we could lose out on the win at the death of a session for the 3rd time this weekend. But we are now coming up on some back markers. Nick De Vries, Enzo Fittipaldi, hopefully they can get out of my way quite quickly. But I tell you whose way he didn't get out of quite quickly. It's the sister team. Red Bull are stuck behind an AlphaTauri, or at least they were for a split second there, and that has caused Sergio Perez to fall outside of my DRS range. Not only that, but I had the DRS to Enzo Fittipaldi, which has allowed me to break away from Sergio Perez. I don't think I'm going to get it on this occasion, but Sergio Perez is now 1.3 seconds down on me. He's going to need to clear Enzo Fittipaldi in the Williams very, very quickly. My former teammate, of course, in Season 1, Enzo Fittipaldi. He does clear him eventually, but he is still over 1 second down on me, and he's outside of my DRS range, and maybe, just maybe, that will be what saves me on this occasion. Enzo Fittipaldi really was my wonder wall. No, I'm sorry, that was a shocking reference from me. But in any case, we make our way onto lap 35, and we're just going to try and bring it home now. Try and keep Sergio Perez outside of that DRS range. I think that contact, or not contact, but you know what I mean, getting stuck behind Nick De Vries just for a split second, just for one corner, was enough for Sergio Perez to lose out on the victory here in Brazil. He had a terrible time of things in his home race last time out, and now he is going to be absolutely gutted that he couldn't hold on to the victory here. Kind of getting screwed over by his team on strategy. Why would they pit Max Verstappen, who was down in like 15th first, before they pitted Sergio Perez, when they knew that there was going to be a threat of an undercut from me? We will never know the answer to that, but one thing I will know the answer to is that there is nothing that Sergio Perez can do now. I am certainly faster through this middle sector compared to him. He is not going to gain 5/10 to get within that DRS range. There is absolutely nothing that can stop me at this point. We are just going to be rounding the final couple of corners and coming home for what will be my second victory of the season. Of course, we claimed victory in Japan as well after a very hard-fought defense. This one was a bit more of a slow burn, a bit more methodical, a bit more strategy-focused, but we end up coming home to claim the victory nonetheless. And as we round the final corner, we are going to take the checkered flag and win the Brazilian Grand Prix, and that is going to be not only very, very good for us mentally, but also incredibly good for our championship battle with the Alpines. I am absolutely elated with that victory, and hopefully we can continue this form for the final 3 races of the season.
We've witnessed some great battles around the historic curves of Interlagos today, and they've taken a fantastic win. Tell me, Anne, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
A show-stopping performance from the 3 drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure.
So it is myself, Perez, and George Russell completing the podium. And, well, I enjoyed commentating that race a lot. Sometimes these races, you know, they kind of just all blend into one. But this one was an incredibly exciting one to commentate, and I am very, very glad that I was able to deliver it. A fantastic win for us, and hopefully, yeah, like I said, we can continue this form into the last 3 races of the season, maybe pick up another victory, certainly challenge Alpine, maybe even challenge Aston Martin. We'll see the standings in a second. We'll see how feasible that is going to be.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. This result narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Robinson.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Okay, maybe catching Aston Martin isn't going to be feasible after all. We're 74 points down on them with 3 races to go. That effectively means we need 3 victories. And also for them to score no points. Or for Dennis Hauger to also have a blinding end to the season. Which, with the best will in the world to the guy, I love him. He's been with us for 2 seasons now. And, you know, he has been a pretty good wingman at times. He's just not shown the pace that I think that we're going to need to keep him on the team. So, yeah, with regret, I think I'm going to have to say Dennis Hauger is definitely going to be leaving the team at the end of the season. But I did drop the bombshell in the last video that I was looking at Tsunoda, Ocon and Gasly as potential replacements for Dennis Hauger. Let me know which of those you would like to see most, because I definitely think this video will come out before I record the final races of the season. So you can still influence my decision at this stage. Usually by the time the Abu Dhabi video comes out, I've already actually recorded the off-season stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of a bit too late by then. But at this stage, you know, I believe this video should be coming out on Tuesday, hopefully. And, oh, actually, no, it'll be Monday, won't it? I was thinking to myself, oh, yeah, this should be coming out on Tuesday. But no, it's actually coming out on the Monday. So yeah, I definitely won't have recorded the Abu Dhabi video by the time that this video is out. So if you are hearing this within sort of about 48 hours of the video being released, you definitely can still influence my teammate decision. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Who do you think? Tsunoda, Ocon, Gasly, somebody else? Maybe you're looking at a driver from one of the top teams, I don't know. But I always prefer to do it where I take a driver from sort of a non race winning contending team and make them into a race winner and a championship contender and that kind of thing, as opposed to just, you know, signing Max Verstappen and then absolutely dominating. I feel like that's not very realistic as to something that would actually happen in real life. You know, I feel like it would take something a lot stronger than myself to tease Max Verstappen away from his team. But yeah, so we're only 5 points behind Alpine now. The championship fight is very, very interesting as well. Bottas currently leading his teammate, I believe, by 9 points. Perez is right in there as well. Norris is right in there. Verstappen 30 points down. Maybe an outside chance still for him to turn it around. And yeah, we just need one more or maybe 2 more good results over Alpine, and we should be able to usurp them in the championship. So yeah, this P6 has to be the target, I would say, and I think it's a realistic one as well. So yeah, tune in for the Portuguese Grand Prix, and maybe you'll see me win again. We won there last season, so who knows, maybe we can repeat that feat. But that is going to be it for this video, so if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.